Hi guys. Okay, so we're gonna do things a little different today because we got people moving at different paces. First thing you're going to do is finish up the two-step equations. If you didn't finish and get it put in the Google form, bring me your papers, and I'm going to be checking those, looking at your work, and I'll be pushing the key out to you. I'm going to give your work back to you, send your Google form back to you graded, and give you the key to those so that you can see where your mistakes were. Those will not go in my grade book, but they are going to have a grade on them when I send them back to you in Google Classroom so that you can kind of see how you did. The key will be there, and you can ask me questions. As you are ready, you're going to pick up the, mastery check. 1 and 2 step equations mastery check, and that looks like this. 1 and 2 step equations mastery check, and it says 1 and 2 step equations. See that? You're going to pick that up, and there is a multiple choice answer sheet that I will give you to mark your answers on, and then you will put those in Mastery Connect and turn those into me, both the work and the answer sheet. You can just staple them together. I may not even get the answer sheet from you. I just the work, so that when I'm looking at what you missed, I can see it, and then we'll go from there. When you finish the mastery check, on this video, after you finish the mastery check, if you haven't finished those 2 things, you're going to want to stop the video right here. Just stop it, because I'm going to pause it and then move on into today's lesson with, but if you have not finished the equation, the multi-step equations with distributed property and combining like terms, put that in the Google form, and the 1 and 2 step equations mastery check, you need to finish those. Stop the video right now and finish those. Okay, so one more time, stop the video right now and finish those. Once you have finished those, turned them in, you can restart this, because then I'm going to work a few of these. You're going to pick up this little half sheet, and you're going to pick up this coach book. I'm going to do a couple on the error analysis. I'm going to do the first one, kind of show you what I want you to do. I'm going to do one side of the coach book page, go over it with you, do a teaching piece with that, and then you're going to do the other side to go into Mastery Connect. So all of that will be on this video. That way we can just kind of keep people moving and keep going forward. And so you know where you are, so you pause the video wherever you need to and get what you need, and then come back to this when you're ready for the little error analysis and the coach book page. I'm fixing to pause this, get set up, and do the teaching that goes with it. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is we're going to do this error analysis. Here is a problem that has been worked, and you are going to fix the mistake and explain the mistake. Well, you cannot fix somebody else's mistake until you have worked the problem yourself. So you have got to you've got to work this problem. Too many times you try to look at what you've done wrong on something, or somebody else has done wrong, and you can't see the mistake. I don't know, I've probably said it to y'all 100 times. Let me work it first, and then I can look at yours. And it's because I need to see the work beside your work. I know you've heard me say that. You'll hear me say it a lot more as we get into equations. You're going to say, let me work. I've got to have it worked, because I can't sometimes look at it, the more simple problems I can, but I like to have it worked. So anytime you're trying to find a mistake, the first thing you're going to do is work it yourself. So we're going to come over here and work this problem the way we know it's supposed to be worked, compare our work to their work, and then explain what they did wrong. So we've got parentheses here, so we've got to do the distributive property. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a minus 7 is minus 14 equals 10. Here's my variable term. Here's my constant term. So I'm going to add 14 to both sides. So 2x equals 24. Divide both sides by 2. And x equals 12. So now come over here and look at what they did. All right, so 2x, we got that. So that distributive property where they distributed the 2 was correct. I'm going to get me a colored pen and just kind of check it off so y'all can see. So they did this step right. 2 times x they did right. 2 times a minus 7. Look right here. Look at the difference. There is the mistake. When they distributed the 2 to this, they didn't take into consideration that x minus 7 is the same thing as x plus a negative 7. That was actually a negative 7 sitting right there. You don't have to write it this way, but you got to know that's a negative 7. That's a negative 7 sitting right there, and so it's a sign mistake. So explain the mistake. When distributing the 2 to the 7, they made a, let's say to the negative 7, a sign error because they multiplied 2 times 7 and should, hold on, I'm running my words together, and should have been 2 times negative 7. Okay, I ran out of room, so grammatically that's probably not perfect. And when distributing the 2 to the negative 7, they made a sign error because they multiplied 2 times 7 and should have multiplied, and it should have been 2 times negative 7. And once you make that mistake, everything else is wrong. Okay, so this is how you're going to do this. You've got those 3 on the front and those on the back. And so get those done. This is going to be in a Google form. And what you're going to do on the Google form is go in and you're going to identify the mistake using the drawing tool. I want you to circle. Actually, I may even look at trying to put this in a Nearpod so that you can use the draw it and actually draw on it and show me your work and explain the mistakes. So I may experiment a little bit with Nearpod, but you are going to have an electronic format to put your answers to this. And so I will let you know later in class today exactly the format. Okay? So now let's move on to looking at the coach book pages. I'm going to do with you page 140, the 143 side. So make sure you are on the right side. You're going to put 141. You're going to do 141 and put it into Mastery Connect. Let me make sure that's right. Hold on just one second. Okay, so I'm glad I checked. I'm doing 141 and 142 with you. You're going to put 142 and 143 into Mastery Connect. So I'm glad I checked that because we would have been kind of messed up. All right, so you are going to need another sheet of paper to work these because I'm going to want to see your work. I can't look at what you're doing wrong. I can't, tell you where you've made your mistake if I can't see your work. So let me get me a sheet of paper. All right, so this is Coach Book. Page 140 and 141. I'm doing the 140, 141, so make sure you look at the right side. All right, so number 1, 2D plus 8 equals 24. That's just a simple two-step equation, guys. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. 2D equals 16. Y'all got to show a little grace with my foggy brain this morning. It's really early. I'm literally at school. And if you don't believe me when I tell you what time I get here, I'll show you. Can you see the time on my watch? 6:04, and so you can imagine what time I got here in order to be already videoing. And D equals 8. Okay. Number 2. 1/3 G minus 6 equals 4. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. 1/3 G equals 10. Now we're going to be dividing both sides by 1/3. And G equals, and I'm going to put this in my calculator because I don't want to. 10 divided by 1/3 is 30. Oh, we got to come up here. All right, solve for K. 3, we're going to distribute that 3. So 3 times K minus 2 equals 15. We distribute our 3 and we get 3K. Right here we get a minus 6. Remember, that's a negative 2. So now we're going to add 6 to both sides. 3K equals 21. Divide both sides by 3. And K equals 7. All right. Number 4. Negative 3B plus 5 equals 13. We subtract 5 from both sides. Negative 3B equals 8. And we divide both sides by negative 3. And B equals, and I'm going to do that on my calculator and not rely on my mashed potato brain, negative 2.6 repeating, which will be a negative 2 2/3. Okay, number 5. Now, as you're watching this video, 1, if you see me make a mistake, please come and tell me. 2, if you have a question, come and talk to me, because I'm here. And so if you're watching the video, this is not, if you're watching it at home, you can send me a message on Google Classroom, on Remind, whatever you need to do to get in touch with me. All right, so right here, we're going to add 1/3 to both sides. I like to put that out there because it looks weird up under it. 3/8 N equals, and I'm going to do this right here. 5, 6 plus 1/3 is 7/6. Leave it an improper fraction. Don't do anything to it right now. Divide both sides by 3/8. And N equals 7/6 divided by 3/8 is 28/9. Leave it an improper fraction for just a second. And now we can change it to a mixed number. And that's 3 1/9. And there we go. Okay. Number 6. I'm running. I might have to move my paper over. Number 6. Make sure my paper is. I hope y'all could see me working. I didn't think to look. I'll post this picture on Google Classroom too for you so you can have it if you need it. Negative 2/3 times Q plus 1/6 equals negative 11 twelfths. None of the steps change, even though these fractions are whole numbers. I mean, none of the steps change. We distribute, we get a negative 2/3 q. Negative 2/3 times 1/6. Negative 2/3 times 1/6 is negative 1/9. Minus 1/9 equals a negative 11 twelfths. We're going to add 1/9 to both sides. Negative 2/3 q equals. So now we're going to take a negative 11 twelfths and add 1/9 to it. And we get a negative 29/36. We're going to just leave that like that for a second. Divide that by negative 2/3. And I get a positive n equals a positive 29/24. Change that to a mixed number, and I get 1 5/24. Now, we need to talk about whether or not the Desmos calculator changes these two mixed numbers and how you're doing that on the Desmos calculator since you don't have these blue calculators. So somebody have a conversation with me about that today because I haven't been using the Desmos. So let me know because I'll need to know this when I get to it with my regular kids. 2.5 m minus 5 equals 9. We add 5 to both sides. 2.5 m equals 14. Divide both sides by 2.5. And m equals 14 divided by 2.5, 5.6. Number 8. What's number 8 look like? It's a fraction. Let's put it over here. Number 8. 3/4 j plus 1/5 equals 3/5. All right, so we got to subtract 1/5 from both sides. That zeroes out, leaving 3/4 j over here. 3/5. I shouldn't have to do this on the calculator. Whoops, because that shit's going to be 2/5, but we're going to do it anyway because I've told you not to rely on your mashed potato brain to do the math. Do it in the calculator just to make sure you're getting it right. Divide both sides by 3/4. And j equals 8/15. Number 9, 0.6 times b minus 2 equals 1.5. Distribute that and we get a 0.6b minus 0.6 times 2 is 1.2. Now I should have said 0.6 times a negative 2 because that is negative 2, but I already written my minus sign down there, so I didn't. But I just want to make sure you know that that's what you're doing. Add 1.2 to both sides. 0.6b. Again, I should not have to do that on the calculator, but I'm going to. 1.5 plus 1.2. I know that is 2.7, but I'm going to do it just to check myself. Divide both sides by 0.6, and b equals 4.5. And number 10, Negative 5 times x plus 2 equals negative 20. So we're going to distribute negative 5x minus 10 equals negative 20. Add 10 to both sides. Negative 5x equals a negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 5. And x equals a positive 2. That one has some good sign stuff in it. So make sure that you are watching those signs. That's all we're going to do. There's 1 through 10. And then you're going to do now I want you to do the other side, and you're going to put these into Mastery Connect. And I will give you the code so that you can see the document that's in Mastery Connect. Let me know if you have any questions, but that's kind of how things are going to go today. And just let me know if you need me.